Hello, I am Chastity White Rose, also known as Chandler Klebs, and co host of the Celibate Vegan Voices podcast. It's been a long time since I've done a show with Monique, and now that I have my own apartment and an internet connection, Monique and I attempted to record Skype calls, and Skype now has a call recording feature built in, which is nice. Unfortunately, Monique's phone, which is the only device she has that can use Skype, um, kept overheating as she was charging it in her car. So we have four Skype calls in what should have been one. We kept being disconnected. So the quality isn't as good as what I would like. But we talked about some important things. So what I'm doing is I'm letting you know that this is going to be a rough ride, but I'm basically merging four Skype calls plus this little introduction into one video, and that's going to be our episode. And once I master how this all works, maybe we'll have future quality shows. But it's always tricky using the internet and drop Skype calls and connection issues. It's always sad. But anyway, enough of that. Now, for the first time after many months, you can hear Monique and I talk about stuff. Apple, I don't like the company Apple, you know what I mean? Because they've got some bad ethical stuff, but
No.
I sure appreciate to get a free iPhone from my dance teacher, and I'm on their phone plan. I pay them $5 a month. They added an extra line, which is great because that's cheap. And right now, I'm just trying to recover financially because I finally got my own apartment, and it's taken so long to get to this point. Like it's just crazy. And so now,
You're
I
happier,
Oh,
right?
I'm a lot happier. I mean, my job is actually going well. It's exhausting all the hours I work, because sometimes I'll be working 45 hours a week, sometimes 50.
I hope
Um,
you're paid for the overage, are you?
yeah, we get paid extra for the overtime hours, which is great. But then, of course, the taxes are ridiculous. You know what I mean? Because it's like when I see like about $250 just of taxes comes out of each of my paychecks. It's like, really? You know what I mean? It's just dumb. But yeah, so in spite of that, basically what happens is I get paid twice a month, and so one of my monthly paychecks is enough to cover my rent and just a little bit extra. So as it stands right now, I've paid my rent, and I've paid my electric and gas bill and my internet bill, and I get paid again on the 7th, and then I'll be able to pay off my credit card, which I'm using for stuff since there's not much in my bank account now. But it's a good thing I have my credit card because otherwise I don't know what I'd be doing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's been rough, but I live in a really nice apartment. I've posted a few videos of stuff around my apartment, and I unfortunately I haven't had much time to do shopping. But believe it or not, what I was waiting for is I ordered some bean burritos from Taco Bell and on Grubhub and had it delivered, and it lets you customize it. So
Hmm.
hope yeah, so hopefully they did it right because I selected no cheese and extra beans and rice added. So this ought to be good because I am starving. Let me tell you, because if today has been rough because I got up early and Larry took me to the post office and I read all my mail, paid my gas bill, went back to bed, then got up at 3 in the afternoon, went to the laundromat, and that takes forever to get my stuff washed right there. I have to sit there and wait for it because I don't want to leave my clothes unattended and have someone steal them. So.
Right, right. Which I doubt that they would, because it's like, even though they're clean, there's somebody else's clothes, and there's some sort of a icky factor to that, but you never know.
Yeah. Unless you're one of those weird people who's into other people's clothes. I don't know. I don't get that. But yeah, so things are going pretty well, all things considered. It's been.
So are you saying that your whole month will be gone? Your paycheck will be gone because of that apartment and bills? You can't save anything?
Well, that's only one of my paychecks because I get paid twice a month. So
Oh, okay,
so
good.
so basically, my rent is like $750, and that includes access to the laundromat and the pool and the trash and sewer. So that's good. But my paychecks, my net pay usually is pretty close to $900. So my net pay is usually about $1,800 a month, which is good pay. You know, I mean, it's hard to believe. I mean, it's worth, to me, it's worth all the hours I work, you know, because it's hard work, and I'm biking 3 miles to and from work every day, Monday through Friday.
You should get an award for that.
No, people can't believe I do it.
I mean, seriously, there's been people that have been given cars because of that. You know, newspaper articles because they've walked so long. I've seen it before. I'll plan to share that with you. At least I can't say a lot of people. I only saw one article where someone used to walk a long time and she was granted a car. And then there was somebody who went to my college and he used to walk many, many miles to and from to get there. And I remember seeing him in a newspaper article for that. I'm
living alone, even though it's I gotta tell you, it's hard because my job's physical, and then biking to and from work and all that. But it's worth it because then when I come home, like for example, one night this week, I was getting off at 1, so I biked home, and then I cooked myself 2 pounds of pasta. And yeah, it was great. I was eating pasta. I probably ate most of the pasta that night while I watched The Last Unicorn. It's great. So now when I come home from work, there's nobody. Look, I can do what I want. I could if I want to watch movies and eat strange things or play Minecraft or dance around naked, I can do that. It's my own apartment. I love it. So
right.
You know what I mean? Because it's just there's no
Absolutely.
restrictions. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
you know, and I've gotten used to that where I'm at the point. I'm only mentioning this because we've talked about it before. I mean, I was raised with a lot of love, and I love love, and it would be great to have a partner, but I don't want restrictions. After the last episode with the breakup and whatnot, and him wanting to be the spiritual head of the household, and I mean, you know, and you say walk around naked, like I didn't do that. I couldn't do that, you know, nor did I, you know, but now it's like, even though it's nice to have somebody to cuddle with, at the same time, I don't want somebody to be ruling me when there's a lot going on in my life, and you know, I want to be able to release that energy without having to feel restrictions. So in some ways, I even question myself about the marriage thing. You know, I told you a while ago, like, I'm not looking to have biological children, but it would be nice to be married someday. But since like over 20 years now, as far as that's concerned, I always thought it would be good to have, if that was to happen, like one person have their space, like in a totally separate building, in my space. And there's people that do that, but that's more, that of course that costs more money. But yeah, like, I don't want to have somebody at every corner, you know, there around the corner all the time, because just for me, it's just hard at this point. Once you start getting that freedom, if you would, no restrictions, like, you know, walking around, drinking out of your vegan milk carton if you would,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I hear people complaining with, their roommates and stuff. Oh, they don't do the dishes, or oh, they're a slob. Yeah, I fit all of those, but nobody can see it. I mean, no one
Yeah.
except me.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about it, is that if my place is a mess because I spend all my time working and I'm not able to clean things up, there's nobody to complain about it,
There
There's
you go.
and
That was another thing. He told people that I was disorganized. And yes, I am, very much. But I'd like to get more, but it's like the hours. It's like whenever I try to get a little dent in something comes up, and then it gets all like outrageous again. I've tried cleaning before, and when you clean, sometimes things start getting spread out, and then it gets messier. That's happened to me, and yeah. I just don't need that pressure from someone. If it wasn't for that pressure, it would be great. Another thing that I want to say is God, what was it? I completely forgot. I don't know. But I think that there's compromises when you are um in some sort of a relationship, and or you're living under the same roof, married or not. There's compromises, and are those compromises good for you? I mean, it's great if you could boost each other up, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. And I don't want to put myself out there again to be knocked down. So I'm only telling you that because now that you've experienced this newfound freedom, yeah, like it's scary to lose that.
Oh yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing is, I don't understand why there are so many coworkers and weird people who assume that I'm looking for some kind of relationship. I don't know why they assume that, why they try to give me dating advice or try to set me up with people. Okay, here's an example. Now, my friend Rose, who used to work at the health market with me at Hy-Vee, she was the only other vegan that was in my area. What I found out, she was an ethical vegan just like me, and so we got along because of that, and we liked video games. So I used to go to her apartment, and we would talk and play games, and we danced to music. We would have a blast. But then, of course, she ended up basically homeless because Hy-Vee cut her hours. But then she moved to Canada. She had a boyfriend up. I miss her because to have somebody, that I connect with like that in my area, it's a rare thing to find. And so this is why, Monique, why being able to talk to online friends is so important. Like you and Pafo and Jamie are probably among my top online friends, because to find first of all, to find another vegan within your same state of the US seems to be hard these days. You know what I mean? They were so exceptionally rare. And then to find another asexual is even more rare, because everybody else, I fear them because, I'm afraid that friendships will turn into something sexual and they'll want me in some sexual way. It scares me. Like, you can understand,
I absolutely understand. I don't like when that kind of thoughts crosses my mind. If I'm, I don't like that feeling of someone thinking of you for sex. I hate it. And I always could see it in their eyes, Ugh.
Yeah, that's the thing about it, because that's what I've realized about myself. Like when Jessica, Jessica was crazy. That was a very it was, sure, that experience was funny after it was over, but it was very scary at the time. How she was crazy and she wasn't on her medicine, was bipolar manic, running around naked. But I remember something she said one day as I was changing my clothes for work. I had taken off the shirt I was wearing and I was putting on the shirt I wear for work. When I took my shirt off, Jessica looked at me and she said, "You're a very attractive man." And then I felt scared. And I realized that, other men, they would have taken as a compliment. They would feel flattered, but I didn't like the idea that my body was something that somebody would see as desirable in some way. You know what I mean? And in some sexual way. It's scary, and that's one thing that I realize, and of course, and this is very interesting because women, I understand that women live with that reality every day, and it's very strange because in general, for the most part, you rarely hear about people caring how men look. I mean, it's sure it happens, but most men are so ugly anyway. So when women get into relationships with them, it has to be for personality because most of them are just so ugly, Anyway, but
I'm going to agree with you on that. I am. I think that they're worse and worse looking. Really, like, I don't know. They're more and more to me. And I think to myself, like, I wish that it wasn't that way for me. But it is. There also, I wanted to tell you two things. This kind of doesn't have anything to do with the unattractive, but there was another teacher. She's from Africa, and she seems like she's in her 50s, and she just like washed her hair so it was all like out. Usually she has it all wrapped up, and one of the other teachers said, "Oh, you look so pretty. You look like you should go on a hot date." And she said, "Hot date? No, I don't want any man in my life telling me what to do." I was shocked because a lot of times, because she comes from a different culture, a lot of women from other cultures in particular, they want a husband, But I was surprised that she said that. And then the
yeah,
second thing I wanted to mention to you about actually the you didn't like, God, my other phone's going crazy with all these messages popping up. The other thing I wanted to say about the, you don't like somebody saying, you look attractive. I mean, yeah, like I feel like even today, the reason I had to do it later is because I had an audition. So I had to go to a new studio and tape myself for an audition. And whenever I go to a new place, I get nervous. I wanted to tell you, but A, you were sleeping, and B, I didn't want to bring up the fact because we had that argument before, and I don't want you to like think, oh, I'm depending on you, but like, I mean, I documented where I was going on the email, so I thought that was good enough. And the place had 5 out of 5 stars. But, I was there and I was comfortable. But yeah, it was like a guy reader. And I thought, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh, great. Can it be a girl? But it went fine. He didn't, I mean, we were totally in the zone of doing what we had to do. But like when I was nervous about dark circles under my eyes, I'm like, can we move the lights like these ways so that when you do the, it won't show it. He's like, oh, you don't have dark circles under your eyes, and even the fact that he said that, Chandler, I mean, and he smiled. I thought, oh my God, I hope this guy is like not hitting on me. But I mean, it was like within the guy's a professional. I had just like complained about my black eyes. But what I'm trying to tell you is I don't like anything anymore because I never know where it's coming from.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's great. Like, I mean, I, I want to know that, I mean, there's still something in me called ego
yeah,
that, somebody, people find me pretty. Like, I like that. I don't want to be unattractive, but actually, like, verbalizing it or, like, being shown, without, like, I don't like it because it's scary. That's why,
yeah.
if it wasn't for the scary thing, yeah, like, I mean, the only time I think that I like it is when some, like, kid will say it because there's no consequence there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. But yeah,
Like,
I mean
oh,
that's
you're pretty, you're pretty. Like, that's fine. But anybody who's adult level, no. 'Cause I just don't know where they're coming from, whether it be the sex thing or the jealousy thing or, it's such a shame.
Yeah, and I read something in one of the asexual groups, about somebody who intentionally got fat so that they would be less attractive, so that people wouldn't hit on them. You know, and
I had somebody tell me to do that years ago. He said, put on 40 pounds and you won't have to worry. That's what he said.
yeah, I mean, isn't it that sad that that's the lengths people have to go to avoid people seeing them in a sexual way? That's so weird. I mean, but that's something that's very bizarre. And see, a lot of people can't relate because the majority of people are highly sexual from what I see, the things they say, you know?
And I mean, again, we've done this before, but I'm just going to put it out there. I don't get why people want to have genital and fluid like put into them. I just don't get it. I don't get it from the women. The guys, I don't get it either. But guys, they're they tend to get like dirtier and stuff. They're like okay with it. Females, even though gender identities are become neutral and fluid and stuff, I still
Yeah.
say that like women on the whole, except for like disorganization, we don't like disgusting stuff. Let's just put it
Yeah.
that way. We're more like against that than the guys. So
Yeah,
I
it's a weird thing. Why somebody would want to do something that's so gross and spreads disease and
I
oh
know. I know. It makes like complete sense to me. And I think to myself, again, I'm going back to when I read that list of um, items that Asperger women are. And who knows? Maybe, I am like a bit, but everything like seemed pretty good to me. Not everything, but most things seem good to me. Like highly intelligent, the asexual part, very truthful, what the heck? You mean
yeah.
I have to have a condition for, you know, doing things that should just be normal?
Yeah, exactly. See, here's what's weird about it. To me, it seems that the autistic traits are the way everybody should be. Because,
Some of them, yeah.
yeah, I mean, because here's what it amounts to is like I see the ways that I am and how I'm different from other people that benefits me in countless ways. And not everybody is the same, of course, even among autistic people, but in general, we are more intelligent in certain areas and we have our special skills that we're really good at. And I find what I would say about the biggest difference between autistic people and neurotypicals is the extremity, because we're extreme, and that's a good thing. People,
Right.
some people view being extreme as a bad thing, but I say no. I say that some of us are extremely good at some things and extremely bad at others, and everybody should be doing what they do best. You know what I mean? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so if you put people in the right place, they do wonderful. And like even at work, like with my job, there's different tasks, and some people are just more talented than others at certain jobs. And what I wish is that my supervisor put people on the task that they're the best at, because that's the way for the company to get more work done and get out of overtime. But unfortunately, she doesn't seem to distribute the work like that. But some people are just really, really good at certain things, and if everybody was put in their right place and they can do the things that they're best at, oh man, everything would be much more efficient. But instead, we have politics, for example, where people who don't know shit are running the country.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you, I just read an article. Did I give it to you? You try to get organic now, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you know that there's a way of farming called hydroponic farming? And from what I understand, if a farm wants to go organic, um, the first thing they need to do is get the land. If that land has a lot of weeds on it, in order to speed up production of their organic growing, initially speaking, they can put that carcinogenic chemical glyphosate, which is in the Roundup, on the land and then start growing their organic garden. And the USDA will allow the USDA organic stickers to go on there. No explanation necessary.
Oh, wow. I mean, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of doing?
Yes, because it's going into the roots, into the crop.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize this. I mean, see, and people, okay, here's the thing is people try to say that without pesticides and these harmful chemicals, that it wouldn't be possible to grow enough.
I've heard the same thing, Chandler. It's bullshit. Excuse my language, but that's what I think it is.
Yeah,
then so many people say it that you start like almost believing it until
I know.
Like, no, wait, I'm really intelligent. I know. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever because first of all, that would not how in the world does it help us grow more food to put chemicals into the soil that kill plants?
I know. Not to mention there's runoff and then that goes into water and then the animals eat it, you know, that people are eating those animals, unfortunately. Yeah. I can't believe it. It's like fraud. So this article was saying if you get something that is pretty cheap and yet it says organic, it was probably grown that way.
Huh.
So I'll have to plan to send that to you, but I was appalled because now it's like I'm always preaching organic, not just vegan, organic. And now that I read that, now I'm not sure if what I'm getting is really organic. I mean, I understand that to an extent our land is tainted, you know, but to initially spray that stuff on the starting ground of an organic garden, I mean, that's just exasperating it. And it should be illegal if to put those stickers on there to defraud people.
Yeah, it's fraud. It's a lie. And oh man, see, it's so sad. And you know something, Monique? This reminds me. You know, I think a lot of the reason that people like us are more intelligent is due to the fact that we do a healthier diet than other people. Well, we all. It's impossible to do perfectly healthy and organic all the time in this society, but we do make more effort, first of all, just by being vegan. We're already doing better. And then to the extent that we do organic, non-GMO, stuff like that, and avoid to as much as we can all these strange man-made chemicals, then our brain function improves, I think. You know? And unfortunately, the people who are addicted to all that stuff that's harming their brain power, all these chemicals, they won't stop because they're too stupid, but they can't get smart until they stop. So they're stuck in this cycle.
I totally agree, Chandler. And there's two types of people that could be negative towards us. Okay?
Yeah.
One, they get angry because we're smarter and actually trying to help people. For some reason, they get angry about that, right?
Yeah.
They do. And then the second one is they're so out of touch with things that are going on that they possibly should know because they're in this brain fog, like just follow the herd kind of mentality. I was in a school the other day as a helper, and the teacher didn't know who Greta Thunberg was, but she was doing a lesson on climate change. And Greta Thunberg was in Los Angeles yesterday, and she didn't know who she was. And I'm thinking to myself, how can you not know? I mean, I've been worked like a lot. I've been going to this one school, and it's been like very, very tough on me. But nonetheless, like I listen to what's going on, and I know, and people like, to me, like, they're like amazed that I like know some stuff that like I feel other people should know. I
know.
don't get it. And then
Well,
here's what I wanted to say. When you were complaining about the work and people treating you rudely, okay, there's this one school, and the technician that puts in the job number for the substitute teachers if they're going to come. Well, we went into like, I don't want to get into all of it, but I want to just do the thing to focus on what we're saying. So she had a poster about this thing called The Secret, the Law of Attraction. You might have heard about it before. And it looked like there was like a Christian type of version in it. It just said to be kind to all creatures, right? This was in The Secret. But The Secret isn't necessarily Christian. It's just how to make things like good for you, how to attract like wealth, and like meets like. You know, the energy you put out is the energy you get back. And so I pointed out to her, I said, oh yeah, like be kind to all creatures. I said, that's why I'm vegan. And she like looked at me and I said, she's like, I'm Christian. I said, oh, I'm a Christian vegan. Christian vegan. Huh. I never heard of that. And I said, yeah, you know, I haven't eaten meat for such and such time. Well, I'm married and I have kids and, you know, are you single? I said, yeah, well, that's why you can have the time to do that. But if you have a husband who's, you know, telling you to cook this and the children want that, you can't do that. And I was like, I was so offended because it's like, oh, okay, because I'm single, I get to do that. I mean, maybe she's right. Maybe I had more time to develop and like think about these things.
Yeah. You know,
fair the way it was posed.
Yeah, well, you know what? Although she was rude, I think she actually has a valid point there.
She does.
Yeah.
I know some women that like, usually they're on the older side, but younger too, that cook for their husbands whatever they want, even if they're vegetarian or vegan. A lot of like Indian women would do that, you know, I heard. And,
Yeah.
and it's like in the more like societies where the woman, you know, doing that stuff that the man wants, you know, and I would never be able to be at this point in my life in a relationship like that, cooking like animal stuff, when I feel like ethical, you know. I mean, I've had guys say, oh, am I off limits of a relationship if I eat meat? Well, yeah, because it's ethical to me, you know. But yeah, she did have a point, but at the same time, I thought to myself, damn, you know, I'm getting a little bit rebuffed here because I'm single, because there's a lot of stuff that I do have to go through because I don't have a partner, for goodness sake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you know, and they don't consider that either, you know. But here's the thing. Somebody said something to me very similar. You know, a long time ago when I was shopping at Walmart, something came up about me not having a car or something, and the cashier was like, well, do you have kids? And I'm like, no. And she said, well, if you did have kids, you would need a car. And I'm like, well, that's one more reason not to have kids, you know, aside from hating sex and wanting the human race to die out, you know. But yeah, it's a weird thing because to these people, to a certain extent, they have a point, because when you're in a relationship and when you have children, you're trapped. You've trapped yourself into a situation from which there is no happy ending. Because let me tell you something, Monique. Let's say, okay, just for the sake of example, that I had been a heterosexual man. Let's just say if that had been the way I was, and I had gotten married to somebody and had kids and stuff like that. Well, then what would have happened when I went vegan? What would have happened? What if my wife and kids were not willing and they insisted that they still had to eat animal products? You know, I couldn't stay with them. I would have to divorce my wife and I would pay child support, but I can't be with a carnist. I can't. And, you know, living with my mom before she went vegan was horrible, because she opposed me when I first went vegetarian, and then when I went vegan, and then She didn't like that I didn't want to buy her even things with dairy products. And then there was the time she got mad at me because I didn't want her to buy me alpaca wool socks. Like, I had enough of that with my mom fighting me over my veganism and my beliefs. So why would I want to get in some kind of other relationship with somebody else? I couldn't do that. So yes, if I had been married, it would have led to divorce, and I know that now.
There are some people that are fine with it, particularly the women. Like there was this one, I don't know if I passed this along to you. They were 28, 29. Her husband was a hunter, and she's like this vegan yogi, and like she'll allow the children to decide what they want to do, how they want to eat. But she's like standing on her head as he like is posing with a rifle. And there's some women that, they're so compassionate. They're like, oh, well, we're here to like guide them and stuff. I mean, there's something to be said to that. But personally, I don't want to be in a relationship and have to guide you to what like I feel is right. I just want you to come to it like, be on point, like it's wrong. Stop killing, I don't want to enter into a relationship where they're fine with that. I just don't want to. Call that or whatnot. Again, that puts on the restrictions. And who's to say they're going to follow that way?
Yeah.
I mean, if they do follow that way, is it just for you, or is it because they really truly believe in the animal thing? Because they, I want them to really truly believe in that. Not like, oh, my wife's vegan, so
right?
So I do it.
Yeah, that's right. Because you don't want it to be just because they're in a relationship with you and that they're being vegan just to please you. Because if that's their motivation, it's the wrong motivation to begin with.
Exactly. Like wanting sex, so I'll take out the trash for you tonight. It's so complicated. It really is, and I think that's why I've gotten like unattracted to.
Yeah.
But that's interesting is even though I'm not looking for the biological kids, I like being them. So I want the human race to just go into the light and whatnot. You and I have different beliefs, but I mean, personally, I just like everyone to go up to what I feel is the light, and no reason to keep coming down here. If you spirit and souls can just have happy life, no need to come down here. But at the same time, like a lot of times, not all the time, it depends. I enjoy being with, or I enjoy helping younger people. I guess I just enjoy like helping, because there's that reaction that you get when you help someone. So it's interesting that even though I don't want them, I'm okay with like helping as long as they're appreciative of it.
Well, yeah.
And,
see,
I've thought about adopting or fostering, but then it's like, then again, you have those restrictions, and now you're helping someone. But now you've just put on a lot of restrictions, So
it's like, unfortunately, you're losing part of yourself when you do that, when you get involved with someone. See, here's the deal. Like, let's take, okay, first of all, humans are a lot of an investment. So, adopting children, for example, is such a huge investment. But let's take something that's less of an investment, but equally important. See, people who adopt, because a lot of people have dogs or cats as pets. For some reason, they're the common pets. And think about it. Now, I love being around other people's dogs and cats. And it's weird because I like cats because cats like me. So like, cats just really love me, and they'll fall asleep on me, and they'll wanna play with me and all. So I'm fine with other people's cats, but that doesn't mean that I would be able to have a cat that I would take care of in my own apartment. And first of all, I'm never home. That's the problem, except weekends are the only time when I'm actually spend time in my apartment, because otherwise I'm either gone at work 10 hours or I'll be sleeping. And so I don't have time to even take care of a cat, if I wanted a cat. And plus I have to pay a pet deposit. And you want to know something hilarious? Okay. So apparently, the rules for dogs and cats as pets, not only do people have to pay a pet deposit and have to pay for any damages their pets cause at these apartments, but they also have to be spayed or neutered. They require that. They require that for dogs and cats that people have as pets in these apartments. And I was thinking, you know what? What if that was a requirement for humans? Like humans had to be spayed and neutered to to live in an apartment complex. Can you imagine?
I don't, you know, really like the spay neuter thing. I know that there's a lot of fans and animal lovers that encourage it because otherwise there's overpopulation of the animals and then they get killed if they're taken in by animal control. You know, I understand. I don't discredit people for wanting it, but I don't support it because I wouldn't want to be plucked off the ground and given some sort of an invasive surgery, even if I don't want to have children. It just seems wrong to me. I feel
Right.
that every creature's temple is theirs, and they should be able to make their choice about what they want to do to their body. And I don't mean
Yeah.
the terminating a pregnancy. I'm not talking about that. I'm
Right. Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
surgeries or transforming, you know, because when you're talking about pregnancy and terminations, now you're talking about two creatures, not just one.
Right. Yeah. That's a
I don't
whole.
want to get into that. You know, I think that there's emergency situations where you need to sexual assault, you know, and you know, woman dying. That's my philosophy. You know, but celibacy. If everybody practiced that, there would be no reason to even have to consider it unless you were the Virgin Mary, and I hope, you know, she wouldn't consider that because, well, I don't know. Well, the hypocrites, yes, but the true message when Jesus walked on the earth, that was good, except with a fish. All right, I'm not going to get into a religious
Yeah,
thing. I
yeah,
just wanted to put
but
it out
anyway,
there.
yeah. See, here's the thing, like about you know the pets being spayed and neutered. Here's what's very weird about it. Yeah, see, there's a fundamental difference between you know us choosing a surgery for ourselves that we consent to, and doing that to that animal. You know, because yeah, they can't agree to have
No,
surgery on their body like that, and
no,
that bothers me. I mean, it bothers me because
yeah,
I feel like what the problem is. No matter how you slice it, it's an unpleasant experience because let's say you have a dog. Okay, well, if you do get them neutered, you are doing it to them without their consent. You can't get their consent because they don't speak English. But if you don't, you run the risk if they get loose, then going and getting a whole bunch of other dogs pregnant, which will result in those being adopted by who knows people who will abuse them or just ending up in a shelter where they're killed. And so I feel like it's your choice between two evils, if that makes sense. And you know, people they talk about the lesser of two evils, and it's like I don't want to do the math about which is the lesser of two evils. So yeah, I don't really make a judgment call on that per se. But I think with as far as humans go, the if we could just get people who want to be sterilized, if we could make that available for everyone, all the humans who want it, then it's not against their consent and it prevents.
we're kind of just like catching up, but this has been the show, hasn't it? And actually, it's been a pretty good show.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing is, you know, because our call's gotten disconnected a few times, but what I'm wondering is if I can download the videos that are being recorded, and then maybe if I edit the audio to, you know, to cut out some of the personal stuff we talked about that we don't necessarily want as part of the recording, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I started getting nervous because I thought about when I mentioned that woman at the job, you know, if she ever heard that. Oh, let me take off my directions here.
Yeah, because what I'm wondering is if there's a way for yeah, if it might take some clever audio or video editing, but but I wanna I'm hoping to see how things turned out because each time we start a new call, I try to click into the thing to start recording it. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
so what I could do is I could upload the recordings unlisted to my YouTube channel just so you can see how they turned out. But then maybe I
Uh-huh.
can try to edit them to cut out because if we're mentioning if we're mentioning people's names or stuff that happened involving other people, we don't necessarily want that to be part of our show
Yeah.
because then we would have to have their permission.
Yeah.
So,
Are you
but
there?
we've been talking about some good stuff tonight. And what I was saying before our last call got dropped is that, you know, if sterilization for humans who want it was promoted, you know, then that reduces unwanted pregnancy, that reduces abortion, and I can't understand why more people don't support that. It's very weird. I've read some weird stuff. I've read so many stories by women who can't find a doctor willing to tie their tubes, you know, willing to do the tubal ligation or whatever. And I'm like, that's weird. Sometimes they even had to get permission from their husband before the doctor would do it for these women. And I'm like, seriously? That's the kind of nonsense that and see yeah it's so dumb because if we had sterilization funded I would be fine with tax dollars going to fund sterilization, consensual sterilization. I would think that would be a no-brainer. That's better than abortion in my opinion by far, so I don't know.
405 South Ramp. Right. Sorry, I don't know why my Google Maps is going. I thought I shut it off. A moment, because I want to just keep talking. I am hands-free.
Right, but yeah, I mean,
hang on a second. Hang on. Let me make sure this map is off. Exit. Okay. You still there?
yeah, I'm still here. Can you see me?
Okay. Hang on. Okay. All right. You're back up.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, because that's the thing is what I was just saying is that yeah, because there are people who want to be humans who want to be sterilized and then have a hard time finding doctors to do it for them. But it's usually a sex thing.
I mean, the thing with the marriage is that no, they shouldn't have to have permission from their husband, but I believe that it should be mandatory that each spouse knows that, though, because if the marriage is based upon the fact that, you know, one wants to have children and the other doesn't, then it's just unfair, you know, just like, I mean, I was left multiple times for not wanting biological children, and even though I don't think that's right, like the person should love you for who you are, I'm just saying that if somebody, if they went into it, but if they went into one secretly gets that operation, then that's unfair to the other person, because now the other person could just be like, oh, but I've been trying, you know. That's
Oh,
not fair.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because yeah, if they just secretly have the operation and the other person still thinks they're going to have kids, then they're deceiving their spouse, and then it's just a whole another problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, that's yeah. But yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Yeah, they kind of have to inform the other person. But yeah, I mean, but still, that would solve so much. That would solve so much trouble if because you know, you and I, of course, we just think that the easy solution to why can't people be and because we don't understand what in the world why these people have to have I will never understand it is they sterilize. If they don't want children, they can get sterilized. I would just rather have taxpayers fund that rather than funding. That's just my opinion. You know?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I think some younger people aren't wanting to have children, and I'm glad that it's become more mainstreamed because, I mean, I went with one person who said he never heard of a woman not wanting to have a child, and I went with another person who said, yeah.
It's too bad that we are limited by having to record by technology long distance like this. You know,
But I mean, I know that it makes it a little bit harder, but it's still, the quality has been very good until the call dropped from this heat thing.
yeah. So
Right?
yeah, we'll see if we can salvage any of this and still make an episode out of it, because it would be great.
I definitely think it's a good episode. I wasn't expecting this to be the episode, but we've touched upon a lot. The only thing that needs to get out is stuff that was like, for me at least, was the job thing. Other than that, I'm fine with everything.
Yeah. Yeah, so that takes some time, but I'll see if I can work on it and do something with the audio, and see if I remember how to still get these published the way I used to do.
Chandler, I have a question. I really like the visual. I think that people click on it more if there's a visual. Would you ever consider that?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to have the video included. I just don't know what the video is going to look like with our calls here, because I only know on my screen it shows, like right now I just see like a mirror in your car or whatever.
Oh yeah, well that's because I'm driving now. I have to know where I'm going.
Yeah.
But the rest of the time, couldn't you see me?
Yeah, I remember in the first call I definitely did see your face, but then I've been seeing all sorts of weird stuff in the other calls. So it's very interesting. Of course, you know, this is just our first test run. We will see if we can find ways to improve the quality. Maybe in the future we'll be able to schedule at a time when you're at home, maybe, and not driving or something anyway. But it feels good to talk finally. It's the first time I've been able to record a show with anybody since I got my apartment, and I got myself set up with Xfinity internet so I can do stuff like this. Oh, so yeah, I mean, we've talked about a lot, and I'll have to see what I can do with the audio or video files, and so yeah. But do you need to get going somewhere?
I am on my way to a screening of a film called Something in Glory. I can't remember the first name, but an actor called Antonio Banderas is in it. Did you ever hear of him?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, he's doing a question and answer afterward. It starts 7 my time. That's why I had to start driving. I think that the visual was great until I left the parking lot. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if you were to do this as a visual. I don't want to make this difficult on you, but here's a suggestion. I would have it visual up until the point where I had to start driving, and then you could just put a picture of me, you know, with the audio going. I think that's manageable.
Right, yeah, and to me it's a matter of time of learning how to do it, because you know, I've tried various software for video editing in the past, and I'm still no expert at it. I just did the bare minimum of what I had to do to get shows on YouTube and stuff. But if I learn how to do some professional video editing, maybe I could do something really good like that. Like have the Skype video from when it's good, but then just, if it's not, then just replace it with our pictures or something. There must be a way.
Yeah, the video and audio just got into a program. I think there's a lot that are free or low cost that you could snag off the, like, I know that there's apps on the phone. One is free for me, and all I have to do is put the video in and I can clip both sides. And then I know for my iMovie, I used to be able to separate the audio and the video. That was on my laptop. So
Yeah, yeah, and I think I can figure out a way, but first I have to merge the different video files into one, and then I'll do the cutting and editing and stuff like that. So I'll
yeah,
have,
and how you would get around that is there's like the fade. There's like a fade in and fade out, like a transition. So you just have to put just you click on transition, then you click on where you want the two video clips to meet, and then it just, it fades in, it fades out, and then it fades back in, and that's how you can do something looking rather clean instead of choppy.
yeah, well, I'll see what I can do. I guess I better let you get to your film and all that. Oh,
Well, again, I'm really happy that you're, being able to have space. And oh, well, what about this? I wanted to mention the Digital Media Summit with the. Have you heard of iHeartRadio ever?
well, you sent me links to iHeartRadio before, and I don't know anything about it though.
I mean, they own a lot of radio stations around this country,
Huh.
and he's the president, and and do podcasts and whatnot. So if I'm gonna meet him, I wanted to have some sort of leverage. And don't forget, I hope I can find it. I don't know. So it's so messy, and I put it aside. But if you remember, there was a famous actress that was interested in being a guest on our show because she's into the organic and plant-based, and her name is Fran Drescher, and she was in some TV show called The Nanny, and she's very, very famous.
Huh.
And she was interested in doing a show.
Oh,
But then
cool.
it didn't work out with like Mike and me, and so and that was last year. I met her last year. And I get embarrassed when I'm like, "Oh yeah, I have this show, blah blah blah," and then there's no show.
Yeah,
It's happened a couple times.
it's really sad how that is, but life gets in the way.
Yes, but I don't know. Maybe she'd still be interested. I'm sure I can find somehow, some way to reach her. Basically, she had cancer, and she nursed herself back to health with the organic, plant-based lifestyle, and now she does big classes on it.
Oh, great. Yeah, well,
I've been in touch with Alexis too. Remember her?
yeah, I remember her. Yeah.
Yeah, she actually spoke to the school district that I work for because I went a couple times in person to the Board of Education asking them to please give organic food to the students. And I was citing all the different diseases that people come down with. And then I spoke to the cafeteria manager and he said it was too expensive. The district that I work for is the largest in the whole United States. I think there's about 1 million people that are in this school district between students and teachers. But I had her. She actually spoke to the cafeteria manager of all these schools. I think there's like 1,000 schools in the district. I was quite excited about it, but I have to reach out to her again because now that I've read this new article where some food might say, organic USDA, and it's really not. I want to ask her how to know. Can we know? Because the article made it seem like we can't know.
Yeah. Oh, how frustrating. Yeah. So, well, yeah, I'll see what I can do with the audio and video files and all that. And if I can get this show up, then we can send it to these people and try to let them know that, hey, we're attempting to do shows again, you know.
Because they have awards now for podcasts as iHeartRadio. And you know, Coast to Coast AM, sometimes they'll talk about people who do podcasts. And I've really wanted to mention ours, but I haven't, because then we weren't doing it anymore. But you know, those folks know me now. I don't know if I told you, but besides me calling, I've been on air maybe 20 times now.
Yeah.
Besides me being a caller, they were part of this UFO conference, and they had a luncheon, and I sang at the luncheon, and they loved it. And so I have like a little clout with that show now, which millions of people listen to, Coast AM. So I'm just saying that we have over 30 episodes, and I've told that to a few people, and they're like impressed. They're like, wow, that's a lot. So don't underestimate what we've already accomplished. Let's try to build on it. And like I said before, I would really like to get some sort of, I mean, even like $20 a month, for goodness sake, I'd be appreciative, because I know that people will make money off of this stuff. And I know that that's what you and I were kind of upset about, because we were pouring all this energy and time, and then, you know, money, you know, the world revolves around money, and I don't want us to shortchange ourselves, you know, because we have such great information. And like I told you when we were on the phone this morning, we've already done a lot, Chandler. Whether or not you realize it, we started a movement online. We had plenty of people that thanked us. There's more and more people every day. In fact, I have to go through my list of people that want to join the Celibate Facebook group.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did a lot. Just because we're not like famous celebrities, we put it out there where other people haven't. So
I'm really glad, you know, to hear that, because I really didn't know if anyone was listening.
We have a niche market for sure, but there's a lot of people that believe in what we have to say. And as far as I know, we were the ones to do it first. Nobody else had a podcast about celibacy and veganism. No one.
That doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, you know, because we're the only people who can do this. Yeah.
I'm so glad that, you know, we weren't even planning to do this really. I mean, if you'll recall, it was all because of my Facebook group, and I wanted to have a meeting, you know, online, and then you were the only one who showed up at the meeting, and then we recorded it, and then it became a podcast.
I know. Isn't that so cool how that worked out? Oh,
yes, it really, really is. Thank goodness it didn't just stop at that one meeting.
Yeah. She's
Russian and from Colorado. I wonder, Saskia, what happened to her, because she was being pressured by her husband. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He helped her a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Once we get established with doing these shows again, you know, we could have her as a guest.
Yes.